Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Dan Cordelicchio. I want to welcome you back to another segment of Destination Health Podcast, Finding Function in a Dysfunctional World. I'm very excited today. We're going to have a great conversation. I have my friend on, Shannon. Kelly, Shannon, how are you today?
Oh, wonderful.
Now,
my arms are sweating and I am cold.
There you go. Well, this is, for all my listeners, this is her first podcast. So
yeah.
So she,
I'm honored to be here.
So thank you very much. So she's a little nervous about it. And I said, okay, but you're on the stage all the time. So, you got that experience. So
I'll get past it.
You'll get past it. So for everybody who's been living underneath a rock and who doesn't know who Shannon is, she's the owner and coach for the Love of Sweat Fitness and Active, for the Love of Sweat and Fitness Activewear. I love that. She is the Wnbf World Figure Champ of 2021. You are the champ. Look at the trophies. Look at the hardware around the neck. That is awesome.
Not collecting dust.
and she's a trainer. She has a reputation for being way too fun, which I know, and spreading confidence because she's just crazy like I am, empowering others to feel their best, help people wear their confidence with eating, moving, and living better by creating healthier habits they can adhere to for the rest of their lives. I do the same thing. It's very important. Positive lifestyle changes. As a bodybuilding world champion and fitness coach for the past 15 years, dedicated her life to the healthiest version of herself, and it's her purpose to help others do the same. Shannon, welcome to the show. See, you got through the first few minutes. It wasn't so bad, right?
Thank you.
All right, let's get right into it. Wnbf World Figure Champ. What was that like? What was the dedication that you had to put into that to get to that point?
So it really, we know that it didn't happen overnight, but it happened. And I was ready for it. And I think back, and I always say this with my coach and my friends, I'm just like, it just felt so right. Finally, leading up into this World Championships, like I stepped on the World Championship stage in 2018, and holy hell, you don't even know anything about that. If you want to learn about that, go to my Instagram and you go to the features, the videos you can save. Go to 2018 World Championships. You're gonna be like, who are you? Crying. It was just the worst. Anyway, so I placed fourth in the world in 2018, and I knew, I was like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. It's an accomplishment, of course, just stepping on the stage, you're so honored to do so. But when you're a champion at heart, you don't stop there. So, I know that leading into, 2019 was a wash. I say that because I was prepping, but I was really going through some emotional, I don't say baggage, I don't know what we call it, some emotional hardships, really bad. It was really taking a toll on my body. So I called it quits. And 2020, we know what happened in 2020, but 2020 led me into the best year. And I know the pandemic, it hit us very hard, but man, that was a time when 2020, it's like I centered myself. It allowed me to take the time for myself that I needed. I hope that makes sense, where I'm living it again right now. I'm like, 2020 was really great to me, where I think it helped me be more present in the moment, because I'm very much go here or there, So I was really in such a better place emotionally, physically, mentally, and I was like, I felt so grounded. So going into my 2021 prep, it sealed the deal. It really sealed the deal. So stepping on stage in 2020, I woke up that morning, and it was like, wow,
you were ready.
Win. And I hate it, you hate saying that, but you're a champion. You're gonna be you're gonna be number one in the world, Shannon. You've been waiting for this, back since the 80s, since I was born, let's say, since I was looking at magazines in the aisles of Walgreens. you know, of all the fitness and figure, you know, champions that were there in the 90s. Like that's where it
Mhm.
started. So yeah, it didn't happen overnight, but man, it's the start. It's like I look at it as it's just the beginning. When people be like, "Oh my gosh, you won! You finally won!" Right? Or someone would be
Mhm.
like, "You finally won!" I'm like, "This is just the beginning."
Yeah.
You know, at 36 years old, I'm like, I'm just getting started.
And let me tell you something, you look great for 36. You
Yeah.
got the great mindset and
Thank
so forth. And I have, I mean, you see, you started talking. I have a half a dozen
More
questions.
questions?
I have a half a dozen questions to go over.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm looking at it, I'm saying, where am I going first? So I'm going to go chronological, I think.
Okay.
So tell me, what were the hardships you were going through in 2019 that led into 2020?
I think mainly what my mind goes to first is the hardship is always just me. Like hardship is look at yourself in the mirror.
Hmm.
Hardship isn't let me blame somebody. So what I mean by that is I was in a relationship and I was
Hmm.
very much in love, and I was struggling between making that relationship go all in
Hmm.
and at that same time, you know, making him happy, making us happy. I
Hmm.
was forgetting about myself, and I found myself making decisions that go against my values, right,
Hmm.
and go against like just the simplest things, you know. And it was me trying to express, you know, that like this really means something to me, you know,
Hmm.
and like I'm gonna do this instead of, you know, going out
Right.
to dinner, something like that. And it was just something like, um, you know, it was the relationship, and it took a toll on my body. So I
Hmm.
started like absorbing that stress. And
Hmm.
for me, like that's how I like. I'm not a stressful person. I'm really not. But it comes out in my body. So I was achy. I wasn't sleeping. I got
Hmm.
skin rashes. Like
Right.
my psoriasis was, you
Right.
know, crazy, you know,
All over the place. Everything gets all
and
over. Yeah.
you know, started gaining weight, not caring much about bodybuilding. I was like, you know what? Bodybuilding is a part of my lifestyle. I understand that, but like, I'm losing myself. I'm losing
Hmm.
myself in another relationship.
Right.
And it was just a big thing for me in 2019 where I was just like, no, I love you, but like, I need to love myself more. It's maybe it sounds cliche, but like, I gotta love
Mhm.
myself completely. And I'm not doing that.
So as you can see, when we, everybody who's listening, they all know my interview style. You know,
Yeah.
we get it. We get into the meat and potatoes. Yes, Shannon. You
I
know,
like details, so I'll talk too much.
yeah. The 2021 WNBF World Figure Champion.
Yes.
Beautiful inside and out. But we want to know what brought her to that point. And it happens a lot.
Yes.
You get into a
A
relationship.
lot of things. Yeah.
You get into a relationship, Shannon, and what happens is that you have goals, they have goals. You got to make those goals kind of work together. You got to support each other.
Right.
Again, maybe if you're prepping, you're going through, the show prep. I'm not going out tonight, and you can go out, but maybe you stay home with me,
Yeah.
and we'll make a meal and we'll kind of hang out and we'll just rest. I need a little sleep. I need
Yeah.
some restful and restorative sleep. So, that's all normal, but it's the maturation of what you found out what you needed to do in order to become who you are. And
Right.
that's a great thing. What are one
Right.
or two values that when you were, because you said they were going against your values, what are one or two values outside of bodybuilding and outside of being a figure champ of the world? All right. What are one or two values that you have or that you discovered or rediscovered during that time?
Um, I believe it like in that time it was just remaining authentic to myself. I mean, that was the number one thing.
In what way? In what way? I'm not going to let you off the hook. I want to know in what way
Not
were you authentic?
not going against, you know, my you know, being persuaded into a decision, making a choice. I mean, we all have
Hmm.
choices. We were talking about this earlier. It's like making a choice based on what I think they would want and what would
Hmm.
make them happy. But really, like, I'm just
You weren't thinking about
dying
yourself.
inside. I'm just like, you know, like I love you, but like I don't want to do this. And why am I going against myself? I mean, that's a
Hmm.
value. Like I'm going against myself, and it could be the littlest thing. I mean, you know, even things like where it's like it becomes a toxic relationship where you make a decision so you don't hurt them, so they don't cry, or so it makes me sound mean, doesn't it? So,
No,
so
no,
they don't
because
so they don't get angry with you, or like, in a way, like, let's see, prime example, when I started my clothing business with Dia Active, it's like I love to sing and dance, and I love to move, and I'm comfortable with my body, and like, it's like I'm a good time, like, but I do it respectfully. And it got to the point where even, it was like the insecurities came out, and I'm just like, and I tried to go deeper within, our relationship, say, what is this insecurity that you're feeling? But when somebody, feels attacked,
yeah,
they just
I understand. You know
fight
what?
back. So, that went against my value of like staying within your truth,
Yeah,
just remaining who you are, because it felt so uncomfortable for me to swallow who I was feeling. Like, I didn't feel like me,
yeah. It,
I
it
think
takes,
that's like,
in order to evolve and mature, going through that maturation process, so that you can get to be world champion, you had to go through X amount to figure that out. Because if you didn't go
right.
through this, you may not be world champ today,
And
right?
I was maturing as well. You know what I mean? That's where it's like, I
Right.
looked in the mirror and I said, I need this for me. Like,
Yeah,
I want it
sure.
better for my relationship, or, whether it's intimate or not. So I need to do this for me, and it was a huge 2019, 2020 was huge, maturing and self-development, let's say,
Yeah. So the time for yourself, right? What did that consist of? What did you do with that time? I mean, you went to the gym,
Yeah, of course.
what did
Yeah.
that look like, for you? Because when you said you were ready for it, when you won, you were like, I'm here. This is my time. And
Yeah.
a champion does say that.
Yeah.
It's my time. They have that belief
Never
in
said that before
themselves.
either. Yeah.
Right. And it's not something that you think about. All of a sudden, it just comes to you, right?
Mhm.
I got this. And then you become very calm. You're like,
Yeah.
this is it.
Yeah. I was
It's my
calm.
time.
Yeah.
So the time for yourself, what was that like mentally, physically, emotionally? What did you specifically do in order to get through what you had to get through in order to become the champ?
Well, specifically, it was a lot of repetition, a lot of talking to myself.
Hmm. That's okay.
um,
It's good.
it was really like, and I still do, like, I say it all the time. I'm like, talk to yourself every day. Like, even if you feel crazy, it's all right. Nobody's listening but you right now, but I did a lot of, I think it was a great routine where I established, a form of worship. I really did at that time, 2000, I started in 2017, 2018, 2020 really was at the highest level of finding my deeper faith. So
Hmm.
it really was, a sense of worship. Like, I always say, when people think of worship or like, God or anything or having faith, they think, the Bible, and they think going to church and things like that. It's like, no, like, I brought that within myself, where it's like, the more I read, the more I listened to,
Hmm.
different podcasts and other people speaking. It was just, there was always something so inspiring in my ears that I didn't have time for any other bullshit. And the bullshit was my bullshit. The repetitive
That's what I'm getting towards.
self-sabotage. Like,
Right.
that's why I know that when I stepped on stage in 2021, I was like, there were no what ifs. There were no what ifs. And like, I think I've gotten up to the point where it's like, I've lived my life trying to play it safe, and it just only hurt me. That's why I talk about self-sabotage a lot, because we do it unconsciously.
We do it. And it's something,
And you
and
turn
it's,
around and you're just like, why? What are you doing?
no, as I was reading your bio when you sent it over, I mean, I know who you are. So, as I'm reading your bio and I'm looking at the talking points and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, and what did I say before we went on? I said, that's nice, you know. But in order to become a champion, you have to have that self-esteem, that self-confidence, that self-awareness. You've got to go
Yeah.
through that. And I think that, our the podcast is to motivate, educate, and inspire. So for those of you that are listening in today, you know, this is a story of inspiration where you're self-sabotaging yourself. You're not doing what you're meant to be doing. And if you're not doing what you're meant to be doing, you're going to become very upset with yourself. You're going to be very, you know, you're not going to be happy in life. And to find, you know, a significant other that you can share this with is important. And if you find somebody that can help you along, you know, it helps complete it. You know, I don't have to have you there, but you can complete that with me because you want, because you like to share it. You want to share your life. You know, we're all social creatures, you know. So it's okay, Shannon, because you know what? If I go on to you know, one of the social media thingies and, you know, and you're doing a little dance, you know, and stuff like that, I just laugh. And I, you know, for everybody, I'm friends with Shannon. I send her a little comment. I'm like, what is that? And it's funny. It's just funny.
You do. And I was just like, oh, what?
Yeah. What are you doing? Right.
You know,
it's just funny. It's just funny.
Let's say, fun fact, I can sing and dance to any song.
Before we get done with this podcast, if
no,
we have
and that's
time,
not an invitation to do so, but
we're going
any
to
song. It's just
no. I'm going to get my songs
you need to be in a car ride with me. Anyone that has been in a car ride with me knows that any song that comes on, I will sing and dance within the car. It's just happened.
Oh, I'm selecting a song. We're gonna play it. You're gonna get up and dance.
No. You know, it's karaoke. Karaoke is a lot of fun, and I don't have to be drunk. But I do wish that maybe I had a better singing voice, but you know.
Well, we all think that. So what was that moment in time? There's always a moment in time where you're going through what you went through, right? And you said to yourself, this is before I'm ready for this. This is before you are sitting there saying, you know what? You know, I'm looking good. I'm feeling good. I ought to be in Hollywood type of a thing. You know, I'm a champion. This is way before that, you know, because there's got to be that the genesis of the idea that I can be a champion, right? Because somebody's got to be a champion. And I say to my son, you know, he plays hockey. Somebody has the winning lottery ticket to do what they got to do. You know, you got to put in the work.
I say, why not me?
Right. So is that what you said to yourself? Was that moment in time?
No.
Why not me?
Why not me? And you know what? I had, so, you know, my mom's down a Little Lake Harbor, and I was going to a gym down there. When I go down there, I go to the gym Retro, and someone who worked there, the employee, John, I'll give him a shout out because he said to me, he saw me, you know, 8 weeks out, 6 weeks out, 2 weeks out. And I said, he's like, oh, you know, just thanks, giving me a compliment. Like, oh my God, you're like, you know, one of the hardest workers in here. What's happening? Blah, blah, blah. I said, you know, I'm competing and, you know, I'm going for world champion. And sometimes I still get awkward talking about successes or like things like that. You know, it's weird. I haven't always been so confident, and I still have my days. But he said to me, he's like, you're doing it. Why not you? And I was just like, that stuck with me. And I gave him, you know, when I came back and I said, yo, I won world championship. And it was just like, I was like, I have to thank you because you instilled more of that. You confirmed that, like, why not me? You know, all this time, you know, you're thinking like, oh, somebody else, I'm going against so many different people. I mean, that's competition, right? But I said to myself, I said, why not me? Because I have everything that I need. I've built my toolbox. You know, I have all the skills. I have the looks. I have the power.
What's in that toolbox? Yeah, what's in that toolbox? What's in that toolbox to be a champion? Tell me.
A lot of discipline. You know, a lot of discipline. A lot of, you know, we talk about the hard work and the consistency and things. I think it's, for me personally, my toolbox is filled with a lot of battling of the brain. You know, a lot of that
mindset. It's the mindset.
A lot of that mindset where it's like, yes, you're doing this for a purpose. You have a reason to do this. Don't sabotage yourself because it doesn't help you. You want this so bad, you know? And it's like when you have those moments of of, or you want those moments of clarity, you got to dig deep.
Mhm.
A lot of people aren't digging deep, and that's why
Yeah.
they're not achieving their goals. It
Yeah.
doesn't, whether your goal is to step on stage and become a world champion, or your goal is to get to the next day, right?
Mhm.
to get to February 15th, it's like you got to do it for yourself. You got to dig deep into your toolbox, and if you don't know what's in your toolbox, you better start placing things in there and make it happen.
So you had discipline in your toolbox. You
Yeah.
had mindset in your toolbox. You had, you were battling your brain. You were digging deep. Is there anything else that's in that toolbox that got you through?
I mean, lots of fruits and vegetables and proteins and stuff.
We'll get into the macros and micros. Absolutely. Because you got to live that. You have to eat right and all of that sort of good stuff.
Yeah, lots of sleep and good conversation and a great community behind you, and well, not behind you, but beside you.
Community. Who's in your community? Who would you call somebody that helped you during this time? Because having a community is really important. Yeah.
So many people I can shout out and things like that, and like they know who they are. It's just I think I have such a variety of friendships and relationships. It's hard to single anyone out because we all make it happen, and I've learned that, and I'm still learning that within my businesses, that like you can only get to a point by yourself, and then you need to call on people. Asking for help is not a weakness. And I think that's, and that's also something that was in my toolbox, where it's like, if you need someone, you call on them, and you don't expect it. And when somebody calls on me, I don't expect anything in return. You know what I mean? So it's just, you have those friendships those meaningful friendships that they don't expect the same thing in return. They just know that you need them. So that's definitely the community that I surround myself with.
I like this. This is a great conversation, because I like to get into the headspace of a champion, and I have a tendency to do that. I
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Is there smoke coming out of my ears? I can't
No, there's not smoke coming out of your ears. You're smiling and you're beaming right now, which is really great, because I've had on athletes before. They've been clients of mine. Of course, I can't say who was, but I've had friends of mine, and I like to get into that mindset of a champion, because you can take that mindset of a champion and go on stage, right? And now I'm going to shift just a little bit here. Okay. And you can go on and, you go on stage and you have all that confidence because you've worked hard. It's fun, it's fun. And,
I love it.
yeah, you know what? And what that just reminded me of when you said that you love it is a podcast that I listen to of Arnold. And Arnold is a big supporter of chiropractors and so forth. And, he has the sports expo, and the chiropractors have a big presence there. Yeah. And, he was saying that what separated him was that he had fun. And every rep and every set that he did brought him closer to being the best in the world. So he couldn't wait until he got into the gym, and he couldn't wait. And I sense that with you. It's like, this is who I am. This is what I do. Let me get into the gym and let me have some fun. I may grunt. I may groan. I may sit there and yell and scream.
And I sing.
And you sing, but there's always that thing where this is great. I love this. I've set my sights on something, and it seems to me that you didn't have a plan B. And he talks about not having a plan B, because plan B, you put too much, if things aren't going correct with plan A, you can go back to plan B.
But and you put that energy in plan B. It's like, but your energy should be in plan A.
Energy should really be in plan A. You got to exhaust everything that you possibly can. And I sense that you do that. Is that a fair statement?
I do, and it's, I very much do. And it brings me to the, am I talking myself down? Because there's a double-edged sword because my perfectionist comes out, right?
Mhm.
So it's like there's no plan B, but if sometimes I don't execute plan A, as I would like to,
Mhm.
it's hard not to beat yourself up over it,
Mhm.
So again, I go back to talking to myself because I told you, I talk to myself all the time. It's just like, okay, take 5 minutes, take
Mhm.
5 minutes, make your decision because, your choices are going to lead to your results. Not every choice is going to be perfect. What is perfect, right? But
But
you
you learn
show
from
up
it.
and you execute it,
You
and
learn
you're
from
gonna,
it, and you can pivot, and you can
right,
pivot, and you can make
right,
it even better, as
right.
opposed to as opposed to.
Yeah,
I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over
yeah,
again, looking for a different result. But you can, a champion does do that. They have a tendency to make those
absolutely.
executive decisions where, okay, I have to do this now.
Right.
Now, any other challenges that you've experienced? You've had some relationship challenges. You went through this whole metamorphosis. Any other challenges that you
I
went through to bring you to the point where you are today?
think that the number one challenge is always just getting out of my own way. I say it all the time. I'm like, it goes back to like turning your sabotages into success. Like, get out of your own way. 'Cause I'm only
Yeah.
stopping you, and I have a great team beside me. I have, like I said, it goes back to my toolbox. It's like if you want to check off all the boxes, we got check it off all the boxes, and then what are you left with?
So you have a great
There.
community. You have great coaches that help
Yeah,
you out, and all of that sort of good stuff.
yeah,
That's
coaches,
wonderful.
friends, anything. It's great. I've been blessed to grow up. I didn't have, I don't want to say like a rough childhood. I've had my childhood issues and things like that. Family dynamic and friends and stuff. Nothing's perfect, but I was never faced with such adversity that some people might
Mhm.
face, and I've just always had such great support. And I really, every time someone sees either on Facebook, or if I'm in a magazine or something like that, or if I'm asking my community like, hey, this is my business venture or something like that, thank you so much for your support. Like, people are there, they're like, Shannon, look at you, kick ass. I love it when it brings me to like when I first when I was going, was it this year, last year, or whatever it was, but I get messages sometimes from people I haven't seen. Like, they remember me from like teenage 20-year-old
Right.
Shannon, and they're like, I've been watching you. And I'm just like, this is the life that I love, because you don't have to hear from someone every day, but you are inspiring somebody that you don't even know. And that just makes my life. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I am right where I need to be. All the questioning and the self-doubt that I can go through, it's like those little times, those times, like, it just seals the deal. And I'm like, I got to remember that.
Mhm.
And like I tell my clients, and I tell everybody, like, remember your small wins, remember your small accomplishments. Like, yeah, I have
Mhm.
trophies and medals and stuff, but there are small wins leading up to these
Right.
larger, accomplishments.
Yeah, you
And
just didn't. Right.
that's
You just
all in
didn't
it.
wake up. You just didn't wake up and go on stage and say, "Hey,
No,
this is something that I'm going to,
yeah,
I'm just champion." You may have done that in your
right.
mind, but in
Yeah, I'm
reality,
just
you
like,
just
but I'm
didn't.
gonna be a champion. It's like, we all struggle.
Yeah, you
It's
know,
just putting one foot in front of the other, and you can do it. So the main struggle with me is within in my own mind.
yeah, sure. So you have a grace to you where you are taking on your responsibility of being a champion and looking to inspire others. You have that grace about you, and you do that very nicely, because
Thank
there
you.
can be a young girl listening to this. There could
Yeah,
be
thank
a young boy listening to this.
you.
There could be a guy 60 years old listening to this. There could be a woman 60 years old
Yeah,
listening to this. And then they just get up and they say, why not me? Why
right.
not me? And it doesn't mean that you have to get on stage, and it doesn't mean that you have to be, a figure champion like Shannon is, but you can be the best, as you say right here, being the healthiest version, being the best version of yourself, and helping others do the same. You have a grace about you that does that. So, thank you for sharing those stories, because a lot of, it does mean a lot, because like I said, there could be somebody that's going through a tough time right now. Could be anybody. It could be a teenager or a preteen. It could be in their 20s, 30s. They can be like me, a senior citizen. Am I a senior citizen at the age of 60?
But also, I'm considered.
I love you. I love you. I love you too, Shannon.
Will you be my Valentine, you old man?
Yes. You know what, Shannon? Yes. Thank you for asking, because I was going to ask you to be my. So we're each other's Valentine this year. Oh. That's great. So you don't know who you're going to inspire by listening to this. That's why I really don't like to talk about macros and micros. Yeah, I don't like to talk about macros and micros, because that's easy stuff.
No, and macros and any sort of like food is huge. Just to kind of give it a little wrap up. Fun fact: I can never make a short story short, so I'll be quick about this.
Well, you are a Jersey girl.
I like detail. I do. Once I get going, I'm like, okay, zip the lip.
You are a Jersey girl, so you like to talk just like a Jersey girl.
And I'm not even talking so much with my hands too. Can you believe it? It's like,
forget about it. All right. Anyway.
But no, with macros or anything food related, it's very much, especially nowadays, like we're still in a diet culture where I grew up in it. It's like I was watching my mom do her step class with, I love the 80s look, put a thong up your butt. You're so cute with your spandex and your high socks. Like, that's me,
Pastel colors.
Right.
The headband. Let's get physical.
That's it. That's me. I said, I'm like, I think I was born in the wrong era, but like, I'm living. But we're still in that diet culture where it's like, what's the perfect plan? And I've been there. I've done all of it. You're looking for the perfect thing, but the perfect thing is for you to realize what is best for you. Sit down with yourself. What can I? And this goes into sustainable practices where it's like, what can I adhere to for the longevity of it?
Right.
And that's not what we're looking for. So, I'll count macros and things like that. And it's just, I know to get to my physique goals, I can do that. I adhere very well. It's not that I'm going to do it for the rest of my life, but to achieve the goals that I want to achieve, I make the choice to do that. When I have clients that come to me, they're like, well, should I track macros? And I'm like, no, let's just look at your eating habits now. It's as simple as that. But the most simple things are not easy.
That's right.
People think, small wins or something like, I hate using small or little things like that, because it's not. The most simple things in life are not easy. No. But we have this expectation of like, oh yeah, sure, I can do that. It's like having someone, doesn't exercise at all, and then they come to you and they come to me, they want to coach, and they say, oh, I want to go to the gym 4 days a week. And I'm like, I don't want to burst your bubbles, but let's begin with this. Let's begin with a little kickstart. Moderation. You hear about that, but it's just something so simple. It's just not being understood.
I love what you're talking about, because I have a friend.
That's how I got to this.
I have a friend of mine, right? And he is into personal development. He's pretty big, and he's very big. Not that he's pretty big, and he's got a lot of followers, and he does a lot. I'll mention his name. He's a friend, Michael Burnoff, and he is personal development guru, and he's a friend. And and I take his stuff, and what you're saying is exactly what he says. And we were talking about this before we got onto the air. It's kind of like, I want to get in shape for 2022. It's like everything to the wall, right? And then it's not sustainable.
Right, we were saying, yeah.
Right, it's the black and white type of a situation where you are where you're just going, and then it fizzles. And he talks about what you're saying. And I find this fascinating because in my generation, we just went all out.
Yeah.
And,
There's no question about it, right?
we just went all out, and we did burn out at one point in time. And it was one of those situations where get some momentum. If you're not used to working out, walk, like we were saying, get your dog and go for a walk for a half an hour, an hour. At the end of the week, say, you know what? I had 5 really good, healthy meals. I had 2 or 3 workouts. I feel pretty good.
Right.
Let's go to the next level now. Maybe I eat a little bit more healthy, or take another couple of healthy meals. Now I can start figuring out, and I can start planning, and I can start making goals, because everybody has these big, bodacious and audacious goals, all these goals that they have, and it becomes overwhelming.
Like in the back of your head, you're probably like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how I'm going to reach that.
That's right. And it gets overwhelming.
Start now, Yeah.
But if you just start and you gain some momentum, I think that's important. And I love that you're saying this, because, I'm applying this to my life in businesses that I'm getting involved in, right? And businesses, I just became director of business development for the Stress to Success Shift Institute. And I took some momentum. I got momentum. I was just getting involved in it. Next thing you know, I'm knee deep, but I got the momentum and I'm ready to go. I didn't come out and say, well, I'm going to become the director of business development, because.
And you don't feel like you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Now I'm in over my head. It's just, that's what you wind up. I would say, set yourself up for success. Don't set yourself up for failure. And it's something so simple to think about, something so simple to say, but how do you measure that? So you're not measuring something, you're not managing it. And that's where people, that's where people go in, all these grandiose thoughts, which is great. I don't want to pop your bubble, but let's start where you are.
You got to start somewhere.
Let's not start where you want to be. Let's start where you are. Yeah,
because if you want to be a figure champion, it's not happening tomorrow. If you start today, you can have that thought process. That's a wonderful thought process. And
I had that thought process in 2014.
Right. You want that,
right? I just achieved that, whole thing.
So it took you 7 years to get to be from where you are to here. So you had to mature on many different levels, and it came to fruition. So I love that. So we're gonna switch again gears just a little bit, and let's talk about.
I don't know how to drive a stick shift.
Do you know how to drive a stick shift?
No, and it's funny. I use the metaphor of driving stick shift. The hardest gear to get out of for me is first gear. Maybe not everybody else, but that's where you gain the momentum. You get out of first gear, and then that's where your momentum comes. It's like. And this is coming from. Yourself to get out of there.
Yeah, this has come from the world figure champion. She's telling us that it's tough. That first gear is the most difficult for her. So don't feel so bad. Don't feel so bad. So for the love of sweat is your business, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
For the love of sweat, fitness, and activewear. That is
for the love of sweat.
For the love of sweat, right?
Yes.
Did you use what you've learned to become the champ to put this into your business now and to make it successful, so that you're training people, you got the activewear, did you use a lot of those principles to get into business?
I've added, actually I haven't subtracted to anything. I've added to it over the years. I came up with that from like 3 pillars that always stick out. It's confidence, purpose, and perseverance. And that's when I started. When I first LLC'd in 2014, that's where my thought was. Confidence, purpose, and perseverance. Where it's like, you're creating confidence, you're building the confidence, you're rebuilding confidence, because you're not born with it, right? You got to work for it. Skill. Confidence is a skill. And to keep your skills sharp, you got to keep working. So your confidence and that courage that you build is gonna lead into your purpose. And everyone has a purpose. It's not like it's not like, oh yeah, I was here, I was put on earth to to live and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, of course, we're all living a great life, but I feel like when you don't have a fulfilling life that you're living, when you're not making those choices, you know, and you're not persevering, like it all just blends in, like you're stagnant and you're not evolving with other people. Like, you know, like growing up, you know, if you're still doing the same shit you've been doing in high school, or like you're do more for yourself. Actually, it's not more. And my coach always says this, Coach Chris. He always says, it's not more, you know, it's better is better, more is not better. And that is something where it's like, it's a reminder, do better for yourself. So, you know, and you need that perseverance to do better, because shit gets hard. And excuse my Italian. It is.
That's okay, Shannon. I've used the word a couple of times before too, so it's all good.
Pasta fazool.
Pasta fazool. I was going to say something else, but then I said, no, I can't say that. I was going to start saying some foul language in Italian that was taught to me.
Spaghetti. So spaghetti's our safe word.
Yeah, managot.
Yeah. Right. But you need that perseverance. So it's you know, it's you have to, no matter what, you're building these lifestyle skills, whether you're stepping on stage or you're stepping out of your house every day. You're going to go through hardships, and it's skills, your perseverance. You need to have those skills that you just keep pressing forward. Know when to back off yourself. Have grace, right? Have grace with yourself, but don't beat yourself up, because you are only going to be in that vicious cycle. So when I said for the love of sweat, I meant it. I'm like, you know, people know, and it was also because I do sweat a lot. So it has multiple meanings, but I'm like, you know, it's that for the love of sweat, whether you're in the gym, you're sweating life. It's not just about breaking a sweat with workouts. It's you're sweating life. You're sweating your own life, where it's like you love yourself enough to move forward. Yeah. And so that's where it's like for the love of sweat really came into play. And I was like, I'm keeping it. It's me.
Yeah. So tell us about For the Love of Sweat Fitness and Active Care. What do you do? What's that all about?
So it started, you know, just when I started training. I was going in homes, and I was, you know, 20 years old, or, you know, younger, just starting out. And, you know, I look back at it just like, wow, I have evolved. I give myself a pat on the back. You know, it's like those small wins again, you know, because sometimes you could wake up and especially, you know, being on your podcast, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled to be amongst, you know, yourself, so established, and you know, the people that have been on here. It's just like, you know, it doesn't go unseen, where I'm like, I am a part of this amazing group of people. Where
so you are now part of the Dr. Dan Hall of Fame. Just to let you know. You know what? I have to
we
get
need a picture together up there. Come on, man.
We got to get a picture up there together. As a matter of fact, hold on.
When we go shooting, we'll get a picture together.
Absolutely. Hold on. I'm taking a picture of us right now. Hold on. Smile pretty for the camera. There you go. All right. So
when I smile too much, my eyes close. So
I don't know if we're going to use this picture for the plaque, but you know, it'll go on social media somewhere.
It's our first of many. It's our Valentine's Day picture.
You know what? It's the first of many Valentine's Day pictures.
Our day date. What the heck was I saying? Oh, so just coaching, you know, it's evolved into, I have my own fitness app that I see clients, whether I see you or not. You know, I have online training and nutrition. So you know, I have everything through my fitness app, For the Love of Sweat fitness app. And it's really just built, I added my activewear into it. So now, you know, I'm a Zaya Active representative. So it's like, it's all about wearing your confidence. You know, I say that, you know, inside and out, where it's like, you need to show up for yourself, you know, exercising, eating well, which is, it's all different for everyone. So that's why I do personalized, you know, training plans and personalized coaching. And I love it because even more because I'm very much a detailed person. So I love to give you, you know, my time, and you know, the activewear just fits right in there, because I've been there where it's, you know, days where you're just like, oh God, I feel like crap. You know, that I put on a cute outfit, or, you know, put on some makeup, or just, you know, even with guys, like I say with my brothers, I always call them metrosexual. Like they they just you love to look good, and it's not about how much it costs. It's not that. It's the value you put on yourself. You know, so it's like if you want to dress a certain way, I really feel like there's confidence within within what you put on, and there's confidence with what you put inside your body. You know, so it all comes out, and that's you. That's you. You know.
That's great.
So I do. I try to full circle it. So I think I cover it all. You know.
Mhm.
I have some amazing clients. I really do. And you know what you see is what you get. So this is the Shannon that they work with, and it's a lot of fun.
You have to have fun doing it.
My fun is a little bit different sometimes. You know, where it's like, okay, 5 more reps because I lost count. You know, that's a little bit fun.
Oh, Shannon, I just did 55 push-ups.
Crap, I forgot to start my watch. Like, let's do this again. That was a practice run. You know, that's fun to me.
I just did 55 push-ups, Shannon.
Yeah.
I didn't see
listen,
that.
You
Well, you were over there talking over there
it's
with
in your
Dr.
toolbox,
Dan.
you know?
I think you need to
I
do
was
another.
over there admiring my outfit, you know?
Yeah, it's like, all right, you got 60 you got to do now.
Yeah, and you did it. You
That's
did
right.
it.
And I'm going to be there to push you forward. Guess what, Shannon?
What?
We're at like 50 minutes right now. We're almost done.
I could talk to you all day, every day.
Absolutely, 100%. I feel the same way. We're going to have you back on. And as a matter of fact, when we're
got a lot
done,
to talk about.
Yeah, when we're done with this podcast in the next couple of minutes or so, we're going to set up another one so that we can continue on with this conversation, because Shannon sent me talking points. We didn't hit one of them.
We didn't even scratch the surface.
We didn't hit one of them. Not one.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. We didn't hit one of them. So we're going to have Shannon back on, because this has been a really incredible conversation. Yeah. So here, one more question. Okay. And kind of simple, kind of hard. If you were to give advice to somebody, whether it's working out, they want to start their new business because you're an entrepreneur. They want to go back to school. They want to get into a program because they're being self-destructive and they're abusing substances or something like that. We're not psychologists or psychiatrists, but if you were to meet somebody and they said, listen, I want to learn something from you, what would be the 3 things you would tell them?
3 things. Find your why. Even though, having a conversation is just, if someone were to approach me and say, I want to do this, I want to do that, I'm like, okay, why? It's a lot deeper. Like I said, it's like I definitely tap below the surface. So it's like, there's more than the surface level stuff. So it's like, let's dig a little deeper, like what's your why? I think it's really, also, are you ready? Are you really, ask yourself these questions, like look back and say, are you ready, willing, and able? Dot. Let's lay it all out. You gotta have a plan. Because I speak from experience where it's just, jumping in and then you're like, oh man, I'm so creative. Like have a plan, put it down, organize it, organize your life. And I think it's just follow, be authentic with it. Don't try to do what somebody else is doing, because everybody's doing the same shit. Mm-hmm. Everyone's doing the same stuff. But what's going to separate is because it's from you. Mm-hmm. It's you, and you're unique. So you got to believe in that uniqueness. And that's, again, where it becomes, confidence building. It's self-esteem boosting, where it's like, I truly believe in myself.
That's great. And thank you for sharing that. I've learned a lot about you. I've learned a lot about life. I've learned a lot about stuff today. So I want to thank you for coming on. How can people contact you, Shannon?
I have everything. Actually, good question. My website, fortheloveofsweat.com, is where you'll find everything. It is under construction. But you can find me. It should be done by the end of the month. I'm revamping everything. I'm so excited about my new website.
For the love of sweat.com.
fortheloveofsweat.com is where you will find everything within, I'd say within another 2 weeks. I'll have my website totally redone. So I'm really excited about that. But in the meantime, you can find me on my social pages on Facebook. For the love of sweat, everything, it'll pop up. You can find me on Instagram, Shannon_4. I'll pop up. You just SHANNON. You can find me on Instagram. Yeah, I'm there. Facebook, Instagram. I really don't do much YouTube, but maybe one day I'll start my own podcast and have you on.
That would be great, and I would be honored to have you on. And I'm not going to give you any talking points. You could just start asking me questions as I did.
I know.
It would
I'm
be
pretty
good.
creative, so I don't think I would have a problem with that.
No, I don't think, and we probably go on for hours there too.
Yeah.
So Shannon,
Yeah.
thank you very much for being on today. It's been great. We're going to have Shannon back on. We're going to, before we get off today, I'm going to get another podcast date. And thank you for being my Valentine also.
Thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day. And you do have something coming in the mail, so.
Awesome. Where did you send it?
Oh gosh, to the office.
Okay, which office? Because there's 4 of them.
Newark.
That's okay. That's good. Okay, as long as.
Are you going to be there?
Oh yeah, I'm there.
Damn it.
Okay, because we want to make sure that it goes to the to an office, and so forth and so on. I got to make sure my partner.
What's the main office that you're at?
Newark is the main office.
Okay.
Newark is the main one. So I'll be there. I'll be there.
Okay.
At some point this week. I don't know. I get a text from the office manager. This is what you're doing today, tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
exactly. This is what you need to do. You better be here.
That's all I do. That's my life. Anyway, Shannon, thank you very much for being on. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening in. This has been very inspirational. Listen, share this with family and friends. There's so many pearls in here. Listen to it again.
I hope it hits home for someone.
It's going to hit home for somebody. If it hits home for me, it'll hit home for somebody else. So thank you very much, Shannon, for being here. Thank you very much for everybody for listening. Be the best version of yourself, and we'll have Shannon back on. Take care. Bye-bye.